we kind of hang our happiness on the backs of others in our lives. Now, we may think we don't do that. A lot of you are shaking your head. No, I don't do that. That's not me, but I think we all do it. I do it. We all do it. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to try to learn to recognize when we are doing that a little bit so that we can nip it in the bud and have a little bit of a better balance and be a little bit more responsible for our own happiness. We're going to talk about that. Okay, so what do I mean when I say that we hang our happiness on other people's shoulders? Here's what I mean. When your husband forgets your anniversary and you are very, very upset and hurt and wounded, you're not happy. And if you dig down, the reason you're not happy is because of what he did. So you are then, in effect, putting your happiness on him. It's his responsibility to change his behavior and behave in a way that makes you feel better. So anytime your boss doesn't appreciate you, the people in your house are just so darn negative, the kids are out of control, they're struggling in school, they're struggling with more important things, health issues, addiction issues, you stop being happy because of what they're doing. You allow their behavior to kind of get inside you and determine your mood. The other day, I sent out a newsletter. I posted about this on my page, and I probably shouldn't give it any more airtime, but I'm going to anyway, just for an example, because I'm okay now. I'm over it. Maybe I'm not entirely over it, but we're all learning as we go, right? So you can help me with this. So I sent out a newsletter. I posted about this contest, and it's the fall fantasy contest, and it's a lot of fun. So I put that in my newsletter, and below it I put the cool cover that we just released on this anthology of mine called 3 Witches and a Zombie, which is a collection of previously published novellas that we put together, and I just love the cover of this thing, 3 Witches and a Zombie. So underneath the contest announcement in the newsletter, I included the links and the cover art for 3 Witches and a Zombie. And the header was kind of Halloween-y because it's fall. It turned fall. A leaf fell. That's it. It's fall. I'm done. I'm in. So I'm a little fall crazy. So I sent this newsletter out, and almost immediately I got a reply, because you can hit reply on the newsletter and it comes directly to me. That probably won't always be the case, but it's the case right now. And so I got this reply from this guy who I had never heard from before, and I have no idea why he was even on my newsletter list. You have to sign up. I don't sign you up. And he was snotty. He was angry. He's all like, oh, I suppose you're going to send me Christmas junk in October too. And he was really snarky about it. And he sent me 2 further, I didn't respond right away. And he sent me a second one saying, I don't need fictional witches. I know real witches. That was the second one. And that I did respond that time, and all I wrote was one line. I said, I'll unsubscribe you. Sorry for the inconvenience. And that was it. Didn't say anything else. He wrote me back a third one, and this one was a long one, saying, I looked you up online. I guess you're pretty impressive. I said that about the witch thing, and he didn't apologize. And then he said, I see you went to a Wiccan seminary. Who made that up? So I was ticked. It threw me for a loop. And I was kind of in a snappy, snarky mood for probably 3 or 4 hours that day. The whole morning I was spoiling for a fight. I did go and unsubscribe him from the newsletter, but I didn't respond. I kept pulling it back up because I wanted to reply. I kept pulling it back up, wanting to reply, but I didn't. I didn't do it. I held it back and I let it go. But so that's just an example of how a perfect stranger who I do not know and whose opinion about me I really should not even care about, it was snarky to me, and I let that determine my mood. I kind of let it ruin my morning. But don't we kind of every day of our lives, someone cuts us off in traffic, we're angry. Someone says something snarky to us in reply to an innocent comment, we're ticked off. Someone snubs us, or we take it as a snub, and often it isn't, but we interpret it as one, and we feel hurt and we feel sad. And so all these little things that other people do can affect our mood. And in that way, we're kind of making all those people, strangers in our lives that we don't even know, we're kind of making them responsible for our happiness. We are saying, in effect, you have to behave in a way that makes me feel good all the time, or else I'm not going to feel good. So all we need to do is be aware of it. It's still going to happen. I've been studying this stuff and practicing this stuff and polishing my technique for years now, and I still let the snark get to me from time to time. But most of the time, I was under the weather that day. Most of the time, it bounces right off me and it doesn't have an effect. And that can be you too. We are just going to practice and practice and practice. We're going to become more and more aware of when it's happening. And then we're going to stop ourselves and say, okay, it's up to him how he behaves. It's his journey. He's got 80 years on the planet. If he wants to spend the afternoon playing video games instead of hanging out with me, I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to go find something I want to do. Everybody gets to choose for themselves. We cannot put it on our partners and our kids and our parents to behave in ways that make us happy and pay enough attention to us to make us happy. Our happiness is an inside job. So when the kids are playing video games instead of hanging out with you on their vacation or on their weekend off, and you really think they should want to be with their mom more than they do, just try to stop and say, you know what? They're human beings with, if they're lucky, 80 years on the planet. They ought to be able to spend the time doing what they want. Let them have their free time. Let them do what they want to do. And I think that what you find is that people become so much more relaxed around you because they're not getting that guilt, they're not getting pressure, they're not feeling judged and condemned. We're not doing that mom thing where, you know, we kind of, it's a little bit passive aggressive sometimes, the mom thing we do, you know. Fine, I only gave birth to you. Fine, go play video games. I don't need you to pay attention to me. I don't need help with the dishes. Go ahead, I'll do it myself, like always. Don't do that. Let's try not to do that anymore. Let's try to recognize the individuals in our lives, our family, our friends, our children, our parents, our spouses especially. Let's try to recognize them as separate beings from us who have 80 or 90 years on the planet, and maybe 100 or 120, that's how long I'm going to live, and let them spend that time seeking their happiness in their own way, finding their own path and having their own journey. Everyone has to be fully autonomous and empowered to make the decisions in their lives that make them feel the best. And we too are empowered to make the decisions in our lives that make us feel the best. And it works so nicely that way.